Yeah, so it wasn't a bad news day yesterday. The reason we had no call was because you had this area of supply and we were approaching that quite heavily, and there was no retracement back to any points of interest. So there were no trades yesterday, no good, clear trades. So there was essentially no call, but the news was all right, except for the core retail sales and the retail sales. So essentially what we're looking to do today is just break it down and go slow in the charts, but there is some nice market movement today so far. We'll see how it plays out essentially. So in terms of daily structure for Euro US dollar, we're currently within a bit of a daily supply zone. So if I was to kind of mark out this level, sorry, you can see we're kind of in that supply zone. Still haven't seen a clean rejection or anything yet. On the daily, we have broken structure. Therefore, we aren't in a range or anything. So we have got supply points up here, for example, but we're not looking that far up. We don't expect price to get there unless we break through this kind of area. So now we're currently within that daily supply that caused this break of structure. So I can kind of refine it to this area. Yeah, so we're kind of in that range right now. If this zone fails, we could see a pullback to the unmitigated supply zones above. However, price is heavily bearish, so we do want to stick with sells. So it could just continue dropping from here. Let's let the lower time frames guide us. Okay, so yes, we had a supply fail. However, we may just be looking at the wrong supply. Maybe it could be that within here is a supply zone. Again, this is on the 4 hour. So let's zoom out a bit. We've got the liquidity grab over here, and we have a liquidity grab over here. So obviously we have that area, but we also have this as a potential demand zone should price get back down. But we will see what happens on the 15-minute. Nothing's too clear yet. Yes, there's a nice rejection, but it hasn't broken lower structure. So now let's look over on the 4 hour, or 15 minutes, sorry. So we've had a 15-minute change of character. And then we've kind of got this swing low to be taken out before we can say that structure's actually changed. I would not call this a demand zone, reason being, it's got a huge imbalance below. So we're looking to break through it anyways to fill that imbalance. So I would not consider it a potential area for price to turn from. In terms of supply zones, what I can see from this wick, essentially over here that we've marked up, come to this supply, we've broken out of it. So I'm just gonna put that there. So we could potentially be in a bearish trend on the 15-minute. However, we need to see that break. But because higher time frame is bearish, I am happy to look for rejection at that zone before dropping to lower time frames to trade off of. So that's obviously a 15-minute thing, but on the 4 hour, our targets would be this area of demand, potentially this area of demand. However, initial target would be this area. So I'm just going to look to take it down to here because there's imbalance here as well. Back into 15-minute. So yeah, so that's our kind of swing structure. That's the high, that's the low. And looking on our 15-minute, we're looking at the supply zone as our main entry area. So do we have any questions so far? Okay, so right now we are on the 15-minute and we've had that change of character. However, demand still seems to be in control as this is a demand zone. We have not broken the structure, so that's why I'd like to see this low get taken out, because then it would mean the demand zone has failed and a new low has formed. It's a sign of weakness. We could also be looking at a Wyckoff distribution phase. So let's see if it is. Okay. So we're looking at preliminary support and bias climax. So I can see this to be our preliminary support and our bias climax. Then our automatic rally and secondary test. This is a bit of a tricky one. This potentially could be an automatic rally, potentially could be a secondary test. Then drop to form our sign of weakness and our upthrust. So yeah, so no. So if we remove this, what's actually happened is automatic rally secondary test. So this kind of area is our automatic rally, and then this kind of area is our secondary test. And we have sign of weakness and upthrust. Yeah, clear sign of weakness, clear upthrust. Upthrust is very clear. We've come back down. We don't get as low as sign of weakness, but we do have our last point of support. So we don't get as low as our sign of weakness. So we could be coming up to form our last points of support and then just a drop. So this looks like a perfect Wyckoff, well, as perfect as it can be, perfect Wyckoff schematic. So what I'm going to be looking to do is take this trade. Obviously, I would do want to see 1 minute confirmations. This is going to be my main aim for today. Perfect Wyckoff schematic. We do want to look for that break of the structure and the sign of weakness that will be formed after last points of support. Hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. So the trade would kind of look something along the lines of this. Keep in mind, risk to reward won't be relevant at all. Reason being, we're going to be entering off the 1 minute, so it'll be a lot tighter in terms of stop loss. But even if you were to enter directly for 15-minute, you would be looking at 11.67 risk to reward, which is very good in my opinion. You have to keep in mind these could be potential demand zones, and overall on the 4-hour, we could potentially still be bullish. So do keep in mind that that's a potential scenario. Any questions? Seems pretty clear. Yeah, so the market is pretty clear today. In terms of news, Wednesday, not much in euro, not much in US dollar. Yes, we have this kind of chunk. Let me just refresh. Yeah, we do have this chunk of Euro news here. However, it isn't really at a time of high volume. So you only want to be trading the London kill zones and the New York kill zones. So London kill zone is around 7, 8 a.m. New York kill zone is around 12:45 to 1:45. So you really kind of want to be trading those times. And as you can see, only the pound is being affected. So stay away from GBP USD if you trade that. Here it's not really in my trading hours, so I'm not bothered. This is all Canadian news. And then yes, 1:30, you kind of have low impact news. It won't bother me. I'll still trade the same way. I won't even look at the numbers because it's so low impact. And 3:30 is kind of the end of our trading day. So I'm not too worried about that. I don't really trade the end of the trading day. So that concludes our call. Catch you in the next one.